Good morning, Year 4. This is my hints and tips lesson for week 3, lesson 1, hours, minutes and seconds. Our lessons this week are all about time. So I would like you to copy the sentences onto your whiteboard. Okay. 1 hour is the same as how many minutes, and 1 minute is the same as how many seconds, and complete them please, and then check your work. So your sentences should now look like this. 1 hour is the same as 60 minutes. 1 minute is the same as 60 seconds. And we're going to keep coming back to that as we work out the problems today. The work is quite straightforward, okay, using your greater than and less than sign, or the same as. You need to keep coming back to your understanding of these. So I'm going to leave these up on the board as we do our work today. And the first question that we're going to go through together is question number 4. Okay. So with question 4, we need to start by reading the question, and I've changed the values on the sheet because I'm going to do a worked example, and then you're going to do the one that's on the sheet. So the values that I've put in are different to the ones on the sheet, but hopefully with my hints you should be able to work out the answer to the question that's on the sheet. Okay, so Juan ran a race in 2.5 minutes. Eva ran the race in 200 seconds. Who was quicker? How much quicker were they? So now I've read the question, I need to work out who won the race. Okay, the problem in the question comes because the measurements of time, one is in minutes and one is in seconds. So I need to change the minutes into seconds so I can compare the time taken. So 2.5 minutes, and I keep giving you the clue that I want you to sort of make the link with. 2.5 minutes, well, it links back to our decimal work from last week. So if you have 0.5, that, and we convert that into our fraction, hopefully you should remember that 0.5 is the same as a half. So here we have 2 whole minutes and a half a minute as well. Okay, so we start off by doing our 2 minutes, that's where the 2 comes from, and we're going to multiply them by 60, because we know in each minute, 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. So we need to do our 2 minutes times 60, and the 60 is the 60 seconds to give us our value. Okay, so 2, what we're thinking about here is doing 2 times 6 times 10. Okay, so we know that 2 times 6 is 12, and then if we times 12 by 10, it moves up 1 place value, okay, which is going to give us 120 seconds. Let's write it like that. Okay, and then we need to work out the 0.5. So we're looking at 0.5 of 60. Sounds really horrible as a decimal, but we know that is the same as half of 60. All right, and I'm straight away thinking, well, half of 6 is 3. Okay, and then because it's half of 60, I know I've got to move it one place value up. So half of 60 is 30. And that gives me 30 seconds. So now what I need to do to work out how fast Juan was is add them up. So I've got 120 seconds plus 30 seconds. Okay. Hopefully most of you should be able to see that in your heads. If you can't, go from 120, add on 3 lots of 10. Okay, 120, 130, 140, 150 to give you 150 seconds. So straight away now I can say who won the race, because it took Juan 150 seconds and it took Eva 200 seconds. So now we're on to the next part of the same question. So Juan, we know Juan won the race because he was the quickest at 150 seconds. And then the question asks us, how much quicker was Juan? Okay, so if Eva took 200 seconds, and we're finding the difference. Juan took 150 seconds. Okay, I think most of you will be able to see the difference between 200 and 150 is 50 seconds. All right, you could go up in tens, or if we need to find the difference between two numbers, okay, which you will need to do maybe in the question sheet or on the question sheet, we will be doing 200 minus 150. Whoops. Okay, 0 subtract 0 is 0. 0 subtract 5 we can't do. So we have to exchange one of the hundreds, bring it across into the tens. We now have 10 subtract 5, which is 5, and 1 subtract 1 is 0. So there we can see the column method and calculating it in our heads. Okay, column method is good for checking when we think we can do it in our head. Sometimes good to check, and when the numbers get too big to calculate or too difficult to calculate in our head. So we can see that Juan won by 50 seconds. And the other question that I'm going to give you hints and tips for today is question number 6. Okay, but I'm actually going to use the values on the sheet. So this will be a worked model for you, but use the video, watch the video, understand what is happening, and then have a go at doing the question without using the video. Come back to the video if you need some help to remember what is happening as we go through. So here is question 6. I always start by reading the question and reading all of the information. Okay, so Scott, Esther and Danny timed how long it took to have a shower. Scott took 1/10 of an hour, Esther 315 seconds, and Danny 3 minutes 27 seconds. How long did it take them in total And I've got to give my answer in seconds. That's really important to remember. What was the difference between the longest and the shortest times? And that got to give that in minutes and seconds. Okay. Okay, so Scott took 1/10 of an hour, Esther took 315 seconds, and Danny took 3 minutes 27 seconds. Okay, so for Scott, we've got to find 1/10 of 60. Okay, so to find 1/10, we are dividing 60 by 10. So 1/10 is 10 equal parts, and 60 divided by 10 is 6. And that's 6 minutes. And then I've got to convert those minutes into seconds. So I'm going to multiply that by 60. Okay, so that would be 6 times 6 times 10. All right, if you can't sort of get there straight away. So 6 times 6 is 36. Times it by 10, so it moves one place value up, is 360. Okay, so we know that Scott has taken 360 seconds. Okay. We don't need to do anything to Esther's at all because hers is already in seconds, but we need to convert Danny's time into seconds. Okay, so for Danny's time, I need to do 3 times 60 and then add the 20 seconds on. So I can do 3 times 6 times 10 and then add the 27. So 3 times 6 is 18 times 10. So it moves one place value up. So we get 180 plus 27. And if you need to do column addition, you can, though hopefully most people will see that 180 plus 20 would get us to 200 plus 7 would give us 207. So the question asks us to find the total time. Now I would be using column addition if you need to. Okay, so coming down the ones, 5 and 7 is 12. 2, exchange the 1 into the tens. 6 plus 1 is 7. Plus 0 is still 7. Plus 1 is 8. Okay, and no exchanges, so 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Okay, so we've got 882 seconds total time. And the last part of the question asks us the difference between the longest time, which is 360 seconds, and the shortest time, which is 207 seconds. So there we can see a column subtraction sum. And I'm going to leave you guys to work out your answer to that. Okay, so 0, remember 0, subtract 7, we can't do. Okay, so those are my hints and tips for today. Question number 7 is really tricky. Okay, you can have a go at it. Okay, or leave that one today. As long as you've done up to and including question number 6, then that is brilliant for today. Okay, have fun.